Hello and welcome to Won't Be Forgetting That, a podcast talking about all the most awkward and embarrassing moments of people working in the arts and entertainment industry. I'm your podcast host, Seb Muirhead, and today we have a guest. They are a costume designer, a wardrobe supervisor, a novice mother, Laura Brown.
Hello.
Thanks for coming on, mate.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm very excited to talk about some costuming stuff with you. I don't know how much of the podcast you've listened to previously, but there's definitely been a few costuming things come up. So I'll save it until we get a little further into the podcast, and any long-time listeners definitely know what I'm talking about here. But we'll start off with the polite chit-chat just now. How are you? How's your day going?
Well, it's good because I get to be here and you've got a gorgeous dog.
Oh, that is, yeah, a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. The dog will try and break into this podcast studio at some point as well, but she is pretty cute.
She's pretty cute. I'd have her in here if she wasn't loud.
Yeah, she's also massively disruptive to both the podcast and my life, for anyone that's met her before.
Well, never work with kids and dogs.
No, exactly
animals.
right. Yeah, no, dogs can be great, but then sometimes they can be awful. But I've said this again on previous podcasts. Most of the time, I don't think animals realize they have jobs, especially acting jobs. So they're very happy just to do their own thing.
I mean, it is a bit ridiculous that humans want to make animals act. I don't think that was in the evolutionary process of...
I don't know if it was in ours either, to be honest with you. But I've done one job where there was this dog, beautiful little collie, and it just had to walk through a crowded scene. And it went straight through the crowd until it got to me, and it just came right up and sniffed my butt. And I was like, well, this is interesting. Like, nice to meet you too. This scene definitely wasn't about me. I don't even know like if our faces were featured in it. I think it was like dog level. So
I
just,
think
like,
your
legs.
butt was featured in it.
I think my butt was on the cutting room floor, I'll be honest with you. Which is very rude, I'll be honest. I want a butt credit. Butt sniffed.
What, did we get 20 seconds in before you said butt sniff?
Butt sniffed? Yeah, no, we're 2 minutes in. Yeah, so I've got past the 2 minute mark. So if people are here, they're here for the long run now. But yeah, if I have any advice for anyone out there, don't work with dogs or animals
or
rabbits.
Or rabbits. We had a rabbit on set once, and all it had to do was hop in the right direction.
Yeah?
And it did not hop in the right direction.
Name and shame that rabbit. Flopsy?
No, Molly.
No? Molly?
And now, amongst those people that were on that set, we have a saying called fucking Molly, and that means someone is taking far too long to do a basic thing.
No shit.
We've got a Molly situation here.
And Molly's blacklisted from the entertainment industry now.
Well, look, I don't know how long rabbits live for, but I'm pretty sure Molly might be long gone.
Have I just been bad-mouthing the dead? Oh, fuck, I'm going to have to. Right, we'll start this podcast again. Hello and welcome to Won't Be Forgetting That. I'm not talking about any dead performers.
Sam, can I just bring up dead rabbits?
Yeah. Oh, fuck, Laura, not again.
All you did was say no dead rabbits.
Third time. All right. Hello and welcome to the Dead Rabbits podcast. Oh, fuck. Well, we're swiftly moving on from that. Anyway, what was that show? Are you allowed to mention it?
Yeah, it was I met some of the best people on there, and
Not
it was
Molly, but yeah, it's some of the other
or
ones.
Molly's trainer, or so-called trainer.
Oh dear, well, maybe we shouldn't mention this show in that case then.
And it was done at it was 3:00 in the morning, and everyone was dead tired.
I'm on board with that then. Yeah, I'm in Molly's boat.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful haunted mansion we were working in.
Cool.
But by that time we were over it and just wanted to go to bed.
Night shoots for anyone, unless you're some psychopath, like nighttime person.
They're grueling.
They're the worst.
They're grueling, and yet everyone's in the same delirious boat. And
so you can't complain to anyone about it because everyone's like, yeah, I'm fucking here with you, mate.
I'm right
what
here.
are you saying? Like, this isn't any worse for you than it is for the rest of us.
So you can use that term, fucking Molly situation.
I'm going to try and get that. Yeah, that'd be perfect if that's a new industry term as well.
That's it. It's a certified industry term.
Yeah. 10-1 means going to the toilet.
Yeah.
And fucking Molly means that someone's taking too long to do something.
Something basic.
Something basic as well, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Molly, first day on set, she hadn't had much training, formal training. She hadn't been to VCA or the Royal College.
Is there a VCA for bunnies?
I think it's just regular VCA. They'll happily charge anyone 80 grand to go. I'm joking, VCA, if you are listening as
You're
well.
not going to get sponsored by VCA.
Fuck. Nike, if you're listening, I'm happy to take your sponsorship.
We've got no bad stories about Nika.
No bad stories about VCA either. I just want to be clear.
Yeah, I don't know where Molly went.
No, well, heaven. Oh, you mean before that? Sorry. Fuck. Well, let's swiftly move on to something.
Start again.
Slightly more. Oh God. So Laura, we've worked together on a few different productions.
Yes, we have.
But the funny thing is that we have hardly seen each other on those productions as well.
Yeah.
I think we were just mentioning one that we worked on. I say worked on together. We were both on the same production, but I didn't see you at all on it.
No.
So that's
I saw your name on the call sheet.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Well, so that proves that I was on that production, everyone. I can't mention it. I don't think either of us can, but we were on it together. Yep.
5 years down the track when this podcast blows up, we'll come back we'll do a reunion
I'll edit it in and mention what the production was.
That's it.
Otherwise, we're stuck behind NDAs just now, or non-disclosure agreements for anyone that's not in the industry. But so it's nice to actually be able to sit down and have a proper little chat with you.
Yes, in the same room.
I know, right? Although I feel like been in the same room as you a few times before. But
I have dressed you before.
You have, yes.
I have sandpapered you before. And
That's right, actually.
Put a lot of dirt on you before.
Yeah, and then you also did that to my costume too. Yeah. A little joke in there. That's what we call it in the industry. A little bloody joke. But yeah. So, do you want to explain why you were sandpapering me as well? That might sound a bit strange out of context.
Yeah, so I guess the technical term is I was breaking you down, or breaking your costume down.
That production certainly did that to both of us, yep.
Yeah, well, maybe they need a little bit of history, but it was one of the hardest productions.
Most grueling. I'd say, yeah. I've shot
so many reasons.
Yeah, like without a doubt. We're not going to name this production for obvious reasons here. But yeah, like I've shot some productions in Scotland, which are like in the rain and in the cold for like weeks on end, and I'd say they're some of the hardest. But then this one was the most grueling in the respect of everything that happened on it and with it.
It wasn't fun.
Yeah.
That's the thing about our industry is grueling comes with the job description, but when it's a great crew and it's a great project, you're a sucker for it.
Yeah.
It's like we're all, masochists or something?
I really think so. We're all just like, at the end of it, it's all going to be worth it. We just keep pushing through
for
day
the
to
glory
day.
and the fame.
I know, so we can all sit there and watch our name in the credits, whilst everyone else that's watching it is like on their phone or not really paying attention to the
correct.
project.
Yeah, they've already pressed stop and gone on to the next
credits, next episode. You fuckers.
But
I do the same thing.
But this one was just grueling because we did not
1 million different reasons. Like
1
we can
million.
Do it. Like genuinely, I think we could both write down between us 500,000 different reasons each.
Well, that's the thing. We've said this term before, but we go through some trauma bonding over that, and that's where we met.
Which is, I don't want to say quite nice because that's, I feel like, misrepresenting the trauma itself. But it is when you see people after those projects, and this happens all the time as well, you see people after those projects, and for the most part, genuinely great people you work with as well. Everyone just kind of gets suckered into things.
There was so many good people on that awful set.
And you see them in different things, and you're like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in 2 years. How are you? How was that? That's fucked. Yeah. So
basically, I was breaking you down on the set because of...
and then breaking down on the set as well.
And then I had a breakdown on the set. So usually those sorts of things are done before you go onto the set.
Before 5 minutes?
Before 5 minutes
stepping onto camera,
playing action.
Yeah.
But due to a lot of miscommunication... We had to do it there and then on the set.
Yes. So I was in the costume. So did the actors usually wear the costume for you breaking down and muddying things up?
They usually they have them on when you need to reset them. So there's often times where you are dusting people down and resetting
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
And that sort of thing, but not from... These costumes were previously broken down, but not to the standard that the director then decided they wanted to be broken down. So we had to do it there and then on you.
Yep.
And I don't know if yours in particular, but I definitely remember using a cheese grater on someone.
Yep, mine. So I was going to say there was
cheese grater.
I had 3 separate people. I don't even think some people from the costuming department. I think maybe production design was helping as well.
Well, considering the costume design department was me.
Yes, okay, so that would make sense then, actually.
Until I left that project and then random people started turning up to take over.
Yeah, we're not naming this project, by the
We
way.
are not naming this project.
But yes, I had 2 people on sandpaper and 1 person on cheese grater. And
that sounds,
normal, right? Obviously, yeah. And I do remember just being there. It was my first day on set as well. And I was just like, wow, we were standing in the pitch black. It was so cold.
It was so cold.
Wet. And we were just standing there, and then I was just like, there's people cheese grating on my bum. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's like, this
and
is the job.
Have you enjoyed that moment since? Has there been another cheese grating your bum?
Not in costume. But this is about professional life, not personal life here, Laura. Okay, so we'll swiftly move on from that.
Sorry, I brought that up.
Yeah, again, my DMs are open for anyone out there. But yeah, no more cheese grating of the buttocks.
Sorry.
With costume.
Sorry about that.
No, I don't think anyone needs to apologise for that production. Or anyone on the... Yes,
except the people that were in charge of that.
Moving on. So let's talk about some productions which were maybe a little bit more professionally managed. So I will start off with a question of... we've had past costumer as well. Costumer, a correct way of saying it?
The thing is, there's lots of different aspects of the costume industry.
Yep.
So some people want to be called costume designer.
Yep.
Some people want to be costumers. That sort of thing. Wardrobe.
Well, if I've misspoken, Sally Cheng, previous guest of the podcast, previous guest of the podcast, please call in and let me know if I've called you a costumer when you don't want to be called that.
I think she would have told you by now.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe we don't have the best relationship after the podcast. No, I'm joking. We're still very good friends.
Maybe she hasn't listened to the podcast.
She said she has, so if she's lying to me,
I don't know. Sally's a bit
blacklisted. But and Laura said that as well. Sally's a bit sus. Not me. I not have anything to do with that. I love all my past guests.
Little side note, I love Sally.
I'm going to edit that part out. Yeah. But Sally has spoken about being far too... I mean, this is a perfect segue from cheese gratering a butt as well. I feel like being far too much in people's personal space with costuming. And then always the most awkward stuff is the modesty garments, or as we all love to call them, the cock socks.
Yeah.
Or is there another... nomenclature, is that the correct word for it?
Sure.
Yeah, for the female modesty garment.
No, they're usually just called nudes or patches, or
so nothing quite as fun as cock sock.
No, well, nothing rhymes with vagina really.
Vagina.
Well, you can make it up.
Hider. No. I'm also passing that name as well, so.
I feel like the word fanny would have a rhyming word.
Call in now if you have anything that rhymes with fanny that would work for a modesty garment. We'll be back after Miley Cyrus.
Have we got an open line? Have we got an open phone
I'll give out my phone number after the podcast. I'll give out Laura's as well. Do you want to give yours out? Oh, okay, well, mine. And by phone number, I mean, definitely don't call me, please.
Can you imagine the first phone call? Hi, Seb, I've got a word that rhymes with fanny. And
especially since it's not live as well, so it's like 3 or 4 weeks afterwards.
And you've completely forgotten. You're like, what?
I'm I'm just happy this isn't someone trying to sell me solar panels, but
I'm listening.
Go on, I'm definitely stealing this idea.
Laura.
Yeah, of course. I'll give you her number instead. But so there's no alternative names for the new. Oh my god, I hate that. But if you want to start selling your own range of them, then we can make sure we put in the TM.
Did you see how my eyes lit up then?
Yeah, it was disturbing. I also feel like that doesn't encompass the entire vaginal region as well. I'm also very upset I just said vaginal region.
I loved it.
Yeah, good.
Are you rethinking us spending time in a room together now?
I'm rethinking this podcast. We're going to start. Hello and welcome to Won't Be Forgetting That. But
version number 5.
Yeah, number 5, the perfect number to start again with. So have you had to design a few of them in your time?
No. So
okay, cool.
I've definitely worked in situations where they've been needed. But I
haven't had them.
No, they've been there, but I haven't had any sort of embarrassing scenarios. See, the thing with those sorts of sensitive scenes.
Yep.
You go into it knowing
that
it's going to be a sensitive scene, so you go into it sensitive and mentally prepared, and everyone I was about to say everyone knows what a cocksock is, but they definitely don't.
No, they don't, do they? That's the funny thing as well.
Yeah, it's a little surprise for some people, but I mean,
Big surprise for some people. I think you mean,
extra large surprise.
Right.
We haven't been in that situation together, so I wasn't sizing you up.
Oh, God. All right. Number 6. Hello and welcome to Won't Be Forgetting That podcast. We're not talking about dead rabbits or cocks. But
I've only come here to talk about dead rabbits and cocks.
Okay,
and
good.
clits.
That's also what I asked Laura to talk about before we started recording.
That was the name of the podcast.
Dead rabbits, cocks, and clits. Fuck, if anyone steals that podcast name, that's my next show. Actually, I might just stop this show and start that one. I think I will be put on some lists, though. And definitely blacklisted from the industry.
VCA will not be supporting that one.
Yeah, look, I probably won't reach out to them as well if that happens. Fuck, I hope VCA is not listening to this. VCA, please give me more work.
I don't even remember what we were talking about, but as a little side note, my laugh, when I laugh too much, I go silent.
Okay,
That's
perfect for a podcast.
Exactly.
So if there's any silence, it's just because Laura's laughing, not because she's wildly uncomfortable with the
really
subject
hard.
matter. So would you actually like
Sensitive scenes.
Yes, sensitive scenes. Do you want to quickly explain what a cocksock is for maybe people that don't know as well?
Well, it's just a modesty piece of, could you even call it a garment? It's just like a
pouch.
A pouch.
That's what I always describe it as.
That goes over, guess where? Your cock.
Yeah, and balls as well. Yeah.
That's right.
So it's actually factually inaccurate, that name. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now we need to rethink our whole life.
I know, right? Rethink all of our little things we call up and set. But yeah, it's essentially the least flattering flesh-coloured
What, you don't like it?
pouch. I'm not a fan, personally.
Fair enough.
And yeah, like
But someone does need to perfect them.
they do, right? I just don't think anyone's spent enough time.
They don't
Because you
know.
don't want to be that person that's like, been locked away for the past year redesigning this thing.
Well, it would have been a good lockdown project. My poor partner would have been roped in. Just hold still.
I'm getting this trademarked, patented. I'm making a fortune off these.
Yeah, Laura's cock socks. That's going to
You
ring
can
to
definitely
it.
sell a few of them. We'll put
Not
your
just-
your Shopify link in the show notes for them as well.
Not just for the costume industry.
No, just for anyone as well. You never know when you need them.
So you go into a sensitive scene
Yes.
and you know it's sensitive. So, and I actually haven't been involved in a lot of them. So I don't.
Cool.
Yeah. So only a couple and they were smooth.
Yeah, that's what you always want, honestly. You don't want any like hiccups or anything going wrong in those kind of scenes.
No, you don't. So that's all been well and good. The more sensitive moments for me is when you don't expect it to be
There?
intimate.
Oh. Do you feel comfortable sharing those moments?
Of course.
Oh, please, yes, please.
On a podcast called Cock, Socks and Clit. Yeah, I'd love to. So I work a lot in fitting rooms.
Yep.
And some people can get either too comfortable or maybe they're not too comfortable but just don't really know the process. And first of all, I want to do a little shout out to actors.
Thank you for that. I did ask her to give it the shout out before the podcast started.
This is a little pep talk for actors. Costume people see bodies every day. And so many people come in, and I've worked a lot in the extras department.
Yep, right.
So perhaps people that aren't, haven't had a lot of acting experience, but have had on-set experience.
Yep.
And everyone, I'd say 80% of people want to apologise to me for their body.
Yeah, that high, wow.
That high, men and women.
Yeah, right.
And I think everyone's beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, that's why you got into costuming. That's why you told me.
I love bodies.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone has to be nervous about their body, and we all go through changes. The biggest thing people said was, "Oh, lockdown," and I said, "We all went through lockdown.
Yeah, I know, right?
We all ate 14 loaves of bread when we shouldn't have.
We all went for the 2-for-1 Domino's pizzas a little too often.
Well,
yeah.
if you're paying for delivery, you may as well make
They
it
had
worth
free delivery
it.
then.
Clearly not. That was Domino's.
If Domino's wants to sponsor this podcast, genuinely, you got me through lockdown. Your 2-for-1s were a godsend. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, beautiful.
But yeah, so you're I don't want to say used to seeing every type of body, but
I
like
am.
very accepting of it as well.
Yeah.
So you can be used to it and still be judgmental, but
Correct.
like used to it and accepting of it. And I think like bodies are beautiful as well.
Yeah.
Like just I always like, it sounds like such a creepy or weird thing. It was always such a like a work of art, especially
Absolutely.
what people can do with them and stuff like that as well.
Absolutely.
Like it's never something you should feel like you should have to apologize for. Obviously, read the room. Like don't take your clothes off in a park or something like that. Yeah, but like
Should have told me that before.
this is Laura's last podcast before she gets blacklisted and arrested.
Oh, look, I'm up there with Hugh Grant. So
What?
didn't he get a blowjob in a park or something like that?
Oh
Wasn't
God,
that his
I'm
thing?
gonna say allegedly. I don't know this. allegedly.
Where were you in the 90s?
High school? No, primary school.
Yeah, well, me too. I still heard about the
Oh, did you? Yeah. I went to a very small primary school.
in Scotland.
Yeah. So we didn't get any of the news. It was just whatever cows
Well,
would go
you're
out the paddock.
British. You just sit over the fence.
Yeah, we don't.
Oh, sorry.
We don't mingle with those types.
Sorry.
Those weird Southerners. But yes. Anyway, sorry. But yeah. So very used to seeing everyone's body.
Yeah, and yeah, honestly, if you're in a fitting room with a costume person, if they're making you feel bad about their body, about your body, they're not a good costume person.
No, and I've had people, previous guests, Rose Flanagan gave a big shout out to the costumers on Class of '07, whose name is I have forgotten, so my apologies. But saying that they were wonderfully, I don't want to say like delicate, but sometimes people that are fitting costumes or people that are looking at costumes can kind of just talk about you as like a mannequin.
Yes, an object.
Yeah, like an object's probably a better thing. So it's like you feel a little bit dehumanized by the process sometimes. So it is very nice when you have someone like yourself or some of the other wonderful teams out there which are very I don't want to say polite because I feel like polite's putting a spin on it where it's like something that they don't want to be.
Yeah.
But like they're very open and warm about you being in a vulnerable position.
It has to
essentially,
be
at the end
a
of the
warm.
day.
Yes, it has to be a warm and comfortable environment. Otherwise, they're awkward. You're awkward.
Yeah, right. And it's like at the end of the day, you're just playing dress up as well.
Yeah,
like, it's not
exactly.
life or death situations.
Yes, the amount of times I've been in a costume department and things are getting stressful and there's a big crescendo of panic and then we all fall about laughing because we go, we're professional dress up artists.
I know, right?
We're getting
You get
people
to make some real cool like costumes.
We do.
In the respect of being like, God, if people were wearing this on Halloween, that'd be fucking sick.
Yeah.
But like they're just wearing it on TV or film.
That's
so it's
exactly
like, it was
right.
way more stressful for some reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the job is stressful and tiring and it's not all about shopping and making people pretty. There's so many non-glamorous sides to it.
Care to share any?
Oh, I'm going to go through them all.
Oh, please.
Oh, it's
a
funny.
massive list here.
Yeah, what time's your appointment?
Yeah.
It's just funny because so I'll finish up with the other story about working in the fitting rooms and things like that. We see hundreds, we can see dozens of people. Do you like how I went from hundreds to dozens pretty quickly? We see a lot of people.
We see one or two people a day.
We don't see anyone. We're in a
we just dress one mannequin and then everyone has to fit into that costume.
a day. And so I remember a particular day where it was a big day. We were doing a lot of fittings, both male and female. Yep. We have separate male and female fitting rooms, of course.
Yep.
And I was working with someone who was, the junior on set. She hadn't been in a lot of fitting rooms. And see, the thing about working... So the thing is, you're obviously having a lot of people getting changed at one time, and you do have to be not embarrassed about walking in on people's dressing rooms and stuff like that.
It happens all the time.
It happens all the time. So the setup is there's pop-up tents in a room, and the people usually come in, you do your greetings, you make them feel comfortable, and then often you take their measurements.
Yeah, right.
And surprise times when you say to them, look, do you have a t-shirt on underneath or a singlet top? Because in the middle of winter, everyone's coming in with their baggy jacket.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
You can't take measurements like that. So they go in, they put all their clothes in one pile, and then they come out for a measure.
Yep.
We've had a couple of times where people have completely taken their tops off and come out bare-chested, both male and female, for their measurements. And then you have to kind of delicately tell them they've done the wrong thing.
Yeah, right.
But also make sure that they know, like, I don't care about seeing boobs.
Yep.
I'm not embarrassed.
No.
But they're about to be embarrassed by me telling them, go back in and put your singlet top on.
Yeah, right.
Because if you come out of the fitting room and people are walking past, it could be anyone. It's not just the costume department.
Oh, and people nip into those rooms all the time as well.
They can,
Like, they won't go into the bit you're changing, obviously, but those rooms have, like we were saying, those little pop-ups. They're like little stalls, essentially, in a larger room, and anyone can come in and out of there.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the doors are often open and things like that. So we have a couple of times where people come out of the pop-up tents completely bare-chested, and there's always junior people working on the set, people that haven't worked in the fitting rooms a lot, and they don't know how to react. And then I'm watching them, and I show my emotions on my face a lot, so I just want to laugh because the whole thing's hilarious. I'm not laughing
at the topless people, just to clarify.
At the topless people. But when you have this young girl who's affronted with a large man and a huge gut, and he's bare-chested, and you weren't expecting them to be bare-chested, things get a little bit embarrassing for everyone else. I step back and watch, and it's hilarious.
Just enjoy the scene that's unfolding.
And then the junior on set has to make that quick decision of, do I tell them to go and put a top on, or do I just forge ahead and measure them half naked?
Have any of them just forged ahead and done? Wow.
Yeah. Kudos to them.
Yeah, I mean, again, fair enough.
Kudos to them.
Especially like what you were saying with extras as well. They maybe don't have the most amount of experience as far as costume fittings or any of the other stuff. They might have been on set a lot, but they will a lot of the time just bring their own clothes.
Correct.
So if they need to be measured for anything specifically, that's when some of these faux pas can happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Has anyone come out fully just in the nude?
I've never had top to toe nudity.
Okay.
Because
Yes, Laura.
You can be my first one if you want.
No. Extra large. Cocks on, please. Oh.
No one's come out fully, because I feel like they would ask that question if they weren't sure. Surely someone would be like, do you want everything off?
I'm not bad-mouthing extras, but sometimes I think things can get lost in translation and in their head a little bit.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be unsurprised, and I'm not saying anything disparaging against people that would do it, but like I could understand if that did happen.
Well, let's talk in general terms.
Yeah.
There are so many wonderful extras out there.
See, that's the thing. I do, in quotation marks, badmouth them occasionally.
Yeah.
But there are some absolutely fantastic people. Like I went to a screening last night, and I met a guy there that I did extras work with, like 7 or 8 years ago. And like he is such a nice guy, and he's doing so well for himself. Mitch, if you're listening, this is you. But like he's doing so well for himself, and I met him doing extras work.
Yeah.
So there are absolutely fantastic people.
Wonderful people.
Yep.
And some of them have other jobs. Some of them just do extras work.
Yeah.
And then there are the other half that are
Half's being played.
dumb people. Dumb people.
They're just different. They see the world through different lenses, and they are.
You're being kind.
A world of their own, I think, sometimes. Yes.
And the hand holding you have to do, and
it's a bit awkward.
It's a bit awkward. So we're talking in general terms. You can, if you're an extra, you can categorize yourself. We're not being specific.
No. And again, like it's all different kinds of people. So if you are listening to this, it's most likely not you.
Correct.
Like, yeah, it's the other ones that you have stories about.
Exactly.
I was on a set once, and it was for like fitness. It wasn't a fitness thing, sorry, but the scene was set in like a fitness style, like a gym, but outdoors. And like everyone was in their workout gear, and they had some extras there as well. And this one old boy. And again, this is one of the ones, so like a lot of the time, extras bring their own clothes as well, because it's way easier than having to dress them. Like when we say dress them as well, you're not physically putting their clothes on them, are you?
Some of the dumb ones.
Oh, no. Don't turn up to set expecting costume to actually put your clothes on if you're listening as well.
To be honest, I guess it depends on what the costume is.
Yep.
If it's a very involved costume.
Okay, I say that. I definitely have had you dress me before. But for the most part, if it's regular clothing, you can dress yourself. But like, you don't have to dress them in the respect of bring clothes for them.
That's right.
But there was this one old boy, and he was just wearing a pair of like runner shorts and no underwear. And then whenever you would like sit down, he'd say his balls.
Oh,
and then somebody politely had to ask him at one point if he had underwear with him. So like,
was it a costume person that had to ask him?
You know what? It was a while ago, and I genuinely can't remember. But I don't know. Like, it's either costume or AD.
Yeah,
they would be the only two that drew the short straw, having to approach him to ask him. But don't. I mean, like, if you're that guy as well, and I'm sure you're not listening, but, like, don't put people in that situation as well. Costuming's happy to see your body, but that doesn't mean you should expose yourself to an entire set.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let me just do a quick rundown.
Yep.
If you're due to turn up on set and you have a costume.
Yep.
Oh, do you know what? If you're due to turn up on set, or if you're due to turn up on a fitting room.
Yep.
Please be showered.
Yes.
Please wear underwear.
Underwear which covers everything and doesn't have massive holes in the crotch and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, and really think about your underwear. Like for women, maybe nude's the best color to go for.
Yep.
I know everyone doesn't have it, but just if you and a bra that fits.
Yep.
And just be respectful that someone is going to be up close and personal with you.
Too close to you, probably, for like what you would expect from regular day-to-day interactions.
That's right.
Yep.
We had one day in the fitting room where a gentleman stank.
Oh.
Absolutely putrid, where we couldn't use the pop-up tent.
Wow.
We had to disinfect it and spray it. And the next person that came in just went, I can't go in there, and I said, fair enough.
Yeah.
Like, just shower. Don't come straight after the gym.
Oh, of course. I mean, if you come straight after the gym, have a shower. Every gym has a shower.
Have a shower.
Yeah.
You know? Just a little, I don't know, public service announcement if you want to go into extras work. Acting.
Yeah. I think this is very important to say as well, because most of the time, like, especially with acting, you're not so much taught about set etiquette and what to expect when you do turn up to your costume fittings, or when you do turn up to have people dress you and stuff like that. You're taught about how to like deeply involve yourself in a character or whatever all that crap is that we get taught. But when you do turn up, sometimes it is like, it can be really confronting, and especially if the costumes are a little bit exposing, or if the costumes are being specifically made for you, because people are standing there pinning things like very close to you and stuff like that. So I think like this kind of stuff's really important to let people know about.
Good, I'm happy to be of service.
Thank you. We've made our way through all the horrible stuff we said at the start, and now we're to the public service announcements. But is there anything else you feel like that a lot of people maybe don't know about, or that you would like more people to know about coming into costume fittings? Just in general as well, talking about like actors, extras, anyone like that.
It really is a good conversation, and actually Sally and I had a huge conversation. We were going to go down the route of a podcast as well about bridging the gap between people in the costume industry and all the other departments.
Yeah, because that is a big thing as well.
It's a big thing.
Departments don't always communicate the best.
No.
And then sometimes tensions can get a little rife, and departments are against each other.
Yes.
Even though we're all working towards the same thing. But if, I don't know, this is just an example. So say stunts, they're like, we can't use these props because they're dangerous. Like they're real life props, like they're metal. And then we're like, well, this is all we have from the props department. So like, hypothetical, obviously, I've not had that problem before, but like that is what can happen. And then there's free tensions and you have to work with these people for the next 5 months sometimes.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Just small things as well, like the sound department, they have to rig you up.
Intimately. I'm sorry, intimately is not the right word, but like...
That is the right word. And then we have to work in conjunction with the sound department because they have to mic you up.
Yep.
Which has to go on the costume somewhere. It often has to go inside the costume.
Yep. Strapped inside a leg or the lower back.
That's right.
Like the thigh sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. I just think people need to be aware, as you know, we do work with actors the most. If they come into a fitting open-minded and just know that the costume department are doing the best for them. So if you're told to wear an outfit that you feel isn't you as a person, that's not what you're there for.
Yeah, right.
You know, we had a scene where we had to dress a lot of people in 80s clothes.
Oh yeah.
If you didn't grow up in the 80s, it feels weird.
Yeah. It's a strange time.
But you look good.
Yeah.
You look the part. And also, I'm going to say this is mostly women, but I have some men. Sometimes if you think you look amazing, you're probably not going to be put in front, the closest to the camera.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be distracting from the lead actors.
This is for extras.
This is for extras. If you look $1 million and look really flashy, you might outshine the lead actors.
Yeah.
You'll be put in the back.
Yeah.
If you're wearing the brightest colours.
And you're all dolled up. And
you're all dolled up.
$1 million.
Yeah. You're going to be put in the back. Also, please read the brief that's given to you.
Yep.
Do not turn up with logos on.
Yep.
Do not turn up with any of the colours that they've said don't wear.
Yep. That's a big one.
You know, pinstripes, small polka dots, all black.
Yep.
I mean, unless
that is what the
that's what they want.
So, with extras work, a lot of the time you'll be sent out a brief, like what Laura mentioned there, just sort of highlighting. You don't usually get the call sheet or anything like that.
Not at that point, yeah.
No, and you'll get given a paragraph of what the scene is, or more so what the setting is, I suppose, and what clothes to bring along.
Yes.
And you can't wear brands because the brands have to be cleared on the production side. So say Quicksilver doesn't want to be part of your film, we can no longer use you.
Yes.
And then say you wear tiny little polka dots, they strafe on camera sometimes. So camera distorts it or something. I'm not smart enough to understand why.
Yeah.
But like, it looks really strange on camera, so you can't wear that. And all black, since camera doesn't have depth, you kind of are lost where you are.
Yeah.
So like you can just kind of sometimes like blend into the background and not look like you're there at all.
Yeah.
So
you can look like a bit of a hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Avoid. So they're mostly the reasons why you're not asked to bring all that stuff, or you're specifically told not to bring that stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. So don't turn up with that stuff.
You won't be used.
Yeah, exactly, right?
And also, unless the scene calls for it, make sure your clothes are clean.
Yeah, right? Is that something that happens often?
Big time.
Really?
Oh, I don't know how some people function. They turn up and their clothes are filthy.
Wow.
Or they're just pulled out of a bag that are completely crumpled. And of course we have things on set to help you.
Yeah.
But if you're turning up and you need to wear a shirt, why don't you just bring it ironed and cleaned
and on a hanger. This is awful, but every now and again when you're asked to bring a couple of options for shirts for certain things, I'll bring a couple and I'll be like, I'll have an ironer there. I'll get one of my shirts ironed for free.
You're one of them ones.
I don't do it often, and I do, like, especially working more on the crew side recently with like stunts and stuff, I'm like, okay, this is annoying to do. But still, if you want a professionally ironed garment, I'm just saying, I'm not recommending it. I'm just throwing it out there into the internet.
And I'm recommending next time you walk into a costume department, if that guy got to iron his shirt again.
But at least it's clean.
Yeah, at least it's clean.
Hopefully.
Oh, is this a good time to bring up the fact that you stink?
Oh, fuck. Well, we've made it, half an hour into the podcast now, so yeah. This is the perfect time, actually. This is my intervention for smelling.
Yeah, that's my only reason for being here.
How about we get into some of our other prepared stories as well? Do we have any that really stick out that we want to talk about, or do we just want to tell people what they should turn up like?
List up. No, it was really funny. Well, first of all, I don't know if I was... But before I came here, I didn't know if I was going to make a really good guest or a really bad guest.
Colin, now, do you think Laura's making a good guest? We'll be right back after Billy Ray Cyrus.
Oh, you went father-daughter.
I did. I'm trying to get the Cyruses to sponsor this podcast. I can't remember what the brother's called. He's in that Screamo band.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No, you know more than me. I didn't know there was a brother.
Oh, really? Anyway, that's not what this podcast is about. Well, sorry. You're a great guest. Continue.
Because I'm just low-level embarrassing, but I don't get embarrassed.
See, we've had a couple of other people like that as well, who are like, they're either at that consistent level or they're like, yeah, what? I don't care.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I just plod along, and then maybe when I'm telling another person, an outsider, the story, they go, oh my gosh, were you embarrassed? And I think, no, I just thought it was a funny story.
Yeah.
But when you asked me to do the podcast, I was sort of thinking about what I could talk about. And then, of course, I was quite busy and couldn't do it for a couple of weeks. And then lucky
Humble
for
brag
you.
There, yeah.
You don't know what I was busy with. Lucky for you, something embarrassing happened since.
Oh, fantastic. So this is a fresh one.
So we've got a fresh one.
I say fantastic. That's such a weird reaction to that, but like, I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah, you are.
But that's great. I'm so happy. Please tell us the story.
Well, it actually ties in with a previous story as well on the set that we won't mention.
Oh dear.
And bring up. So this one happened recently in the past couple of weeks.
Wow.
I did one day as an additional, which means in the costume department, you turn up just for one day or 1 or 2 days on the busier days.
Because they need help because there's a lot of people, is that right?
Correct, yeah. And I was a standby, which is the person that makes you look good just before you go to filming. And
They're
then
the people that constantly have to dust you off.
touch you up.
Yeah.
Professionally touch you up.
Why is Laura making eye contact with me when she says this?
I'm standing down.
I'm scared now. I'm going to end this podcast.
I didn't lick my lips. Jesus.
She did. She's lying.
I did. But that's because I'm wearing cherry lip balm.
Oh, yeah, sure. That's always an excuse.
And so I did an additional day on the set of Neighbours, and I was working with...
Is this the new Neighbours?
It is.
The revamped or the resurrected Neighbours?
The resurrected Neighbours. Fun. And what a surreal moment, because I was a huge Neighbours fan.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, well, you're not Australian, so I don't know. You probably
got it.
You got it?
It was Neighbours and Home and Away, and if you lived back home, you were one of the two.
Well, same here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
perfect.
and I was a Neighbours.
Yeah, we were Neighbours as well, because Home and Away was on Channel 5. This is for all the British listeners. Where I lived, we didn't get reception for Channel 5. So I had to be Neighbours, which was Channel 4, I think, off the top of my head. Yeah.
Good memory. Yeah. Home and Away for us was Channel 7, and Neighbours for us was Channel 10.
Yeah, and with their own broadcastable. Yeah, Channel 5 back home's a funny one. I mean, I'm sure it's great now, but when growing up, it was just really weird shows and then late night softcore porn.
And yeah, that's all we had back in the late 90s.
Exactly. All you bloody kids born after 2000, you don't know how good you have it now.
No.
With all your internet porn and your millions of channels.
That's all you thought about was the internet porn.
Yeah, exactly.
We had to wait till after midnight to go into it. We had SBS for softcore porn.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
SBS is great now as well.
SBS is fantastic.
Oh, I mean, it sounded great then as well by the sounds of things.
I don't know what level of softcore porn SBS have now, but
SBS
is...
Colin, let us know. Saying that, there are like some genuinely great shows. I just finished Safe Home on SBS.
Our friend of the podcast, Sally Chang.
Sally Chang, friend of the podcast, Rose Flanagan as well. They were both in it. Absolutely fantastic show. That's on SBS. So
that's being advertised so heavily, which just...
I'm not surprised, to be honest with you. Very good show. So yeah, Safe Home, if you want to sponsor this podcast.
Safe Home,
please,
BCA,
Colin. Yeah,
Nika.
BCA, Nika.
Who else we got?
The Cyruses. I'm going to be fucking rolling in it after this episode. Sorry, yes.
The fuck was I talking?
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
not
You were
you,
working
it's
on
me.
Neighbours, which was a massive thing for you. You're such a fan.
Oh, so because I grew up in the Billy and Ann era, so Jesse Spencer and Brooke Satchel
I know Tori and Dr. Carl.
and Toadie and Dr. Carl were there
Yes.
on the day I was working.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So Toadie, Carl and Susan, Harold, Paul Lassiter.
What a time.
Is that his name? Paul Robinson. He owned Lassiter's.
Oh, look, you were close enough. At least you didn't say someone completely wrong.
Oh, it's so funny. We're there, so that was a surreal moment because I was like, I grew up with these people on my TV.
That's amazing.
I know, it was like, I've done some pretty cool projects, but seeing them.
It's funny, isn't it? You meet like international celebrities sometimes, and then you meet people like that, which for the most part, your average person might not have any clue who they are.
That's
And
right. But they're my childhood.
Toadie? I watched them drown in a pool once when I was 12.
And the costume department were beautiful women, just
Yeah.
so lovely.
So were they the people that had been working on the show previously as well before it
Some had,
got
some
canned?
hadn't.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, yep, yeah. And they were wonderful people, but I'd never met them before.
Yeah, right.
So all fresh meetings.
Oh, awesome.
And they're really lovely people. And the day went really well.
Yep.
And it was coming into the night time, and I thought, geez, my tummy feels weird.
Oh, no.
And of course, like every set, there were portaloos.
Yep. Oh, yeah. The classics.
They're classic. And everything in my personality suggests that I'm a really relaxed person, but I cannot shit at work.
Really.
I hate it.
We've spoken about this previously with many guests.
I was going to say, have we?
Not, sorry, the collective, the podcast, which is just me, by the way, for anyone listening. Sorry, the podcast, I've spoken about this with past guests previously as
good.
well. I'm always amazed by who can and who can't.
All right, well, put me in the can't category.
No, I think that's most people, to be honest with you.
My friends think I'm weird.
Really?
Well, they're like, come on, you're getting paid to do a shit.
That's the only reason to get into the arts and entertainment industry is you can get paid to take a shit.
That's right.
Sometimes within like earshot of maybe Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, mate,
Yeah.
you're right there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right? So, of course, it's a portaloo, and I thought, this is it. This is the moment I'm going to have to break my no shitting on work rule.
Yeah.
I don't feel, well, my tummy's just sore, right?
Yep.
And I am prone to gastro.
Really?
Every time someone in my family has it, I've had it 3 times.
Jeez.
Do you know what I mean? And the other thing to know about me is I physically cannot vomit.
Like, it's what?
I can't vomit.
Oh my God.
I don't. Apparently, when I was a teenager, I could at some point.
Yeah, right.
And at some point, it stopped happening. And don't come at me with stick your fingers down your throat. Don't come at me with
No.
it's all in your head. You can absolutely do it.
Please DM Laura all of your at-home remedies and fixes for this.
Don't.
Yeah.
Because my partner, so Nath has watched me through gastro a few times
Yep.
now. And he's just like, he's a great person. This is not the only thing to know about me.
Big shout out to
about
Nate
him.
if you're listening.
I love him dearly. But he said, it's got to be in your head. Stick your fingers down your throat. And I said, you come here and you watch me. And
Yeah.
I stuck my fingers so far down my throat. He said, stop,
Oh
you're
my
going to
God.
hurt yourself. Nothing came up.
Wow.
So my body goes through the whole physical shebang
Yeah.
of heaving.
Oh, that sounds so uncomfortable as well.
So think about that in the world of gastro.
Yep.
I have to wait for the whole virus to go through my entire
I mean, there's
system.
only really one other way of it getting out your system as well, eh?
And you don't have to be smart to know
No.
how that comes out. So most people vomit and they feel good
Yep.
and they're okay for the next hour. Doesn't happen with me. I go into cold sweats and shakes.
Oh my God, that sucks. Especially, you said this was just one day as well on
Yeah.
this? Oh, so
Yeah. So my first day on the set of Neighbours, meeting a whole bunch of beautiful women.
Yep.
I mean, it might have been easier if they were assholes and I would have gone, up yours, I gotta go.
Yeah, exactly,
But
right.
I was in complete denial that I was sick.
Yeah.
So I went to the Portaloo, broke all my rules about not shitting at work.
Yeah. You got paid for it finally, though.
Got paid to shit at work. And hoped, like anything that no one was outside the Portaloo
of course, yeah.
waiting for it, because they also have a very weak flushing system.
I mean, everyone listening to this, I presumably, has used a Portaloo. They're not any fancier on sets.
No, they're not.
Exactly the same.
Nope.
Yeah.
So that happened, and I thought, okay, I'm all right.
Yep.
Maybe it was just a bloated belly.
Yep.
And I soldiered on the set and kept going. And then all of a sudden I looked at the key standby and I said to her, the key standby is basically the person in charge of all the standbys. Yep. And I said to her, look, I'm going to have to stop working, possibly run away right now, or we're going to have an accident on the set. And she goes, what's happened? And I said, I've come down with something. Yeah. It's probably gastro. It could be food poisoning, but knowing me, it's gastro. In fact, I don't want to be around anyone to infect them.
Yeah, the polite thing to do for sure.
The polite, I have to go. And I went, why? And she's just like, yeah, do what you have to do. And because I was in denial about it, I waited probably till the worst moment. Like there was a long setup. I could have left.
Oh, no.
And then all of a sudden they're filming and I've gone, I have to go.
Yeah, right. Just sprinting through the middle of the set.
So I had to find a route out around them filming.
Tiptoeing as well, because you cannot make a noise.
Yeah. And literally just drop everything. Find my kit bag, find my water bottle, sweating bullet.
Oh my God.
And then, like a lot of sets, it wasn't next to my car. So
of course.
I had to track down an AD who had to track down the
transport.
Yeah. And the transport guy is a lovely guy named Fraser. Did you ever meet him? He has...
Maybe.
He has a British accent and he...
Oh, maybe actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and people remember him because A, he's lovely.
Yeah.
B, he made great coffee.
Oh, nice.
Because you know how everyone just does everything in the end.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure.
You're like, are you catering? No, I'm transport. Okay. And... he had to shuttle bus me to my car.
Yeah.
And I said, Fraser, mate, we are about to become really good friends because if you don't put your foot on the accelerator, something might happen, knowing full well I can't vomit, and if anything comes out, it comes out the other end.
So you just need to burn that bus. I'm so sorry we've written off one of the transport buses.
Lovely to see you. I might shit my pants in this van of yours.
Oh my God.
And then of course he's the nicest guy, but he is dealing with a virtual stranger who's not feeling the best. Yeah. That has to get back to her car, and he made it back. And we got there and he's got a job to do.
Yeah,
so he can't sit with me to make sure I'm okay. So he's going, are you okay? He opened the door of the van for me. I said, you just leave me. Yep. There's nothing you can do, honestly. And I don't want you to because I'd rather shit myself in peace.
Alone rather than have somebody that you kind of know watching you.
And also I'm well versed in gastro, so I know I know that I'm not gonna die. Although there's been previous times where ambulances have been called.
Oh my God.
And
prayers for Laura.
A nun was involved.
What?
I'll finish this one and
please.
And then I had to sit in my car until the next wave passed.
Yeah.
I will tell you I didn't shit myself. But it was a 20-minute drive home. No, it was a 15-minute drive home, and it took about 45 minutes because I had to pull over.
Of course, yeah. You do what you got to do.
Shakes pass. It was the scariest drive home I've ever experienced.
Sucks.
I pulled into a fire station and I was making noises louder than a cow giving birth.
Oh my God.
And I thought a firefighter was going to come out
with the jaws of life and be like, oh my God, we need to rescue this woman.
Didn't happen.
No.
And then I pulled over in a bus station where the same noises were happening. And as I drew off, I cracked up laughing because I didn't realise there was a man waiting for a bus at
Oh my God, is that poor man? This lady's coming over and she's possessed.
Possessed is a good word for it.
That's why the nun was involved. She was trying to exorcise you.
Anyway, I made it home and I made it into bed. And then
God.
I had to call the supervisor the next day and say, look, I swear to God, I'm not a high maintenance person.
Yeah.
That was just me in the fits of gastro.
Oh my God.
But
Were
I'm-
they understanding as well, the supervisor?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Absolutely were. Yeah. And, you know, in the freelance industry, you want to be hired again.
Oh,
So
of course, yeah.
you're just like, if the job's between me and someone who has never had gastro on set, who are they going to hire?
Also, I feel like gastro is one of those things where it's like, it's one of those things where, like, if you're going to come up with a fake excuse, there's way less embarrassing ones to
Yeah.
come up with if you need to leave.
Yeah.
And again, like, amazing method actor. If you can, like, make yourself turn white and sweat and start
sweat.
shaking,
Yeah.
like, I think they're probably understanding. Yeah.
That's right. And I think some of the actors knew before I did.
Oh,
because
really?
I stood up and the lovely lady that plays Toadie's mum,
Yeah.
she goes, oh, are you okay? Why were you holding your belly? And,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I didn't even realize I was.
Yeah.
And then another actor said to me, aren't you freezing? Because I was in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm fine. Yeah, I was in the middle of a fever.
Yeah.
Probably.
You're sweaty. I'm too hot, if anything.
And here I am going, everything is fine.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do.
And especially like, no, please, it's not about me, it's about you guys.
Yeah, great. Probably gave all them gastro and cancelled the next episode. But anyway.
Well, we're going to have to edit out the name of neighbours now. So.
Yes. But I've had gastro multiple times. One was at my friend's wedding, and I ended up in a car park in Coles car park Woolies, sorry, in
Shout out to Woolies.
and I looked really lovely because I was going to a wedding.
Of course,
and
yeah.
I was on all fours in the car park heaving.
Oh my God.
Good that I can't vomit.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I don't know.
then all of a sudden a nun appeared, but she wasn't in her full habit. She
Yeah.
only told me that she was a nun and started rubbing my back and
Oh.
then gave me a bread roll. And
Oh.
I thought, oh, well, this is a whimsical story. But to tie it in with another on-set story,
Yes.
another time I had gastro was again on that awful set that we worked on.
Really? That was probably just anxiety and nerves.
Or the
Surprised.
catering.
We can get into a whole podcast about the catering as well. Everybody got destroyed by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah.
It was badly cooked. One of the
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And it was, so this set that we were on
Yep.
was filmed far away and we all had to stay.
Multiple locations.
Yeah.
Minimum 2.5 hours drive outside Melbourne.
That's right. And most of them ended up during lockdown,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is a whole nother safety issue.
Yeah.
On the first day of filming when we were away on the set,
Yep.
I arrived. It was all fine on the day we arrived, but the next day was filming and got gastro that day.
God.
And the rumours started flying around that I had just drunk way too much the night before,
What?
was completely hungover.
What?
Yeah. I don't think I even drank half a glass of wine. Someone
right.
poured me half a glass of wine and I didn't finish it.
That kind of doesn't surprise me with the...
Right.
Yeah, that... Not, sorry.
Not with me.
Not with you, sorry. You're a
data.
glutton for wine. She's had a whole bottle since we
Yeah.
started recording.
Yeah.
No, sorry, but with like the chitter chatter and
That's right.
whispers and
Yeah, another level of how grueling it was with
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
rumours.
And also, and I mean, like, this set did not have the access to porta toilets and the best.
Any luxuries.
Yeah, so like you're having to run down to like local places to use their bathroom, and
Well,
there was nothing ever on set.
there wasn't anything, but I didn't make it to set. I was in the bed of the campground.
Grounds,
I don't
yeah.
know where we were,
Yeah.
with other basically strangers. Like
Yep. Everyone was just yeah.
we were just bunked in with people we didn't know, so
Yep.
using a communal toilet.
Oh,
And again, I don't shit at work,
Yeah.
so how am I meant to disgrace a toilet?
when you're nothing but work. Like
When
we all
I'm-
stayed at location as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Awful.
Oh, those poor roommates.
Yeah. Those poor roommates had to...
Would you like to issue a public apology to them? No.
Well,
sure
some of
they
them I didn't
understood.
like and some of them I loved.
Okay,
I'll apologise to them.
No, good on you
I
for
love.
destroying those toilets then.
And then had to get up for work the next day and just say to everyone, I was
Yeah.
deathly sick. No one checked in on me.
Oh, they didn't have people to check in on you. That
No.
was the problem as well. Like, yeah.
One person did call me. It was the armourer
Oh, okay.
to
Okay.
check in on me, which is
Interesting.
interesting.
Yep. Again, we'll just
Another level of
sidestep that.
dodge that one.
Yep. But oh my god, that's so sad. Like,
So-
that just
2.5 hours away from home.
yeah, right.
With people I didn't particularly like.
No,
In
right?
a house full of strangers.
Yeah.
Missing my kids.
Oh, of
hating the
course.
project. Had gastro. Get up the next day to find out everyone just was told that I was hungover.
Yeah, lovely way to start. Yeah. 3-month long shoot.
Yeah, well, I was out of it before it ended.
Smart.
So.
But yeah. But yeah, far out.
So, I don't know. Does that count as an embarrassing story or just a let's all feel sorry for Laura story?
Well, I mean, that latter story for sure. That there's a real little pity party there. But and I don't know how much of the previous podcasts that you've listened to as well. But I was genuinely on the edge of my seat with that story you told me about the onset of Neighbours, because my main goal with this podcast is to find someone that shit themselves at work.
Surely there's someone that
I
shit
know,
themselves.
and I was like, my God, is this it? Can I finally finish this podcast? Have you just retired this podcast, Laura? But no, that's why I was so quiet throughout the whole thing. I was like, oh my God, is this it?
Did you notice that I had to do a little spoiler alert because I looked at you on the edge of your seat and I have to put him out of his misery. I did not shit myself.
I know, and I'm upset in the respect of having a great story not come out of it. I'm not upset for the fact that you didn't shit yourself at work. I want to preface that. And again, like I say this every week, if you don't enjoy brown talk or shit talk, I apologize, but like, whatever.
I was going to ask you if it was okay to swear on set, but then I thought on this podcast,
On the podcast,
and then
yeah.
I thought, hold on a minute, the subject matter suggests surely I can say whatever
It's
I
funny
like.
sometimes what you can get away with, because this would technically count as educational talk. Fucking cunt are the two words you're not allowed to say if you don't want to have it explicit.
Right.
On like iTunes or anything like that, but you can say almost anything else.
Well, I did say clip mitt, but I didn't even think that
Clit is a biological
Scientifical term.
term.
I said scientifical.
A Scientologist's term. No, I don't think they believe in clits.
No, I don't know.
But so like that's an anatomical term. So yeah, that's all fine. That's all good.
Oh, well, I didn't even think of rhyming words for cunt.
No. Cunt shunt.
I was going to say cunt, but that's going after, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah.
know.
No, it's
What's a shunt?
exclusively outside of the body of these modesty gherkins.
Call in to tell me what a shunt really is.
We'll be right back after Miley Cyrus's brother. Metro Station, maybe that's his band?
No, that's
No.
a shit name.
Well, you should listen to the band as well. My apologies if you are listening,
Metro
Miley.
Station.
It's something like that, I think. Yeah, write in after or comment on the podcast episode on Instagram or something like that. Let me know if you know it. But yeah, sorry, we're coming up to the end of the podcast. Do we have any other good ones? Any other good stories that we want to finish on, or is the almost shitting ourselves one? I mean, I feel like that's a big
I
one.
can't really trump the almost shitting myself on set one, but I think, the problem, is it good, is it bad, is I just don't know when to be embarrassed. So
I think it's good, unless you are like one of those people that has turned up as an extra to a costume fitting and be like, they said take my clothes off, I'm walking out nude, and then you're not embarrassed by that. I think like differentiating from those things, but like from everything you've said, I was like, I wish I didn't feel embarrassed by, I do things like all the time and I'm like, why did I say that to that one person?
Well,
I missaid their name.
This is the stupid thing. I fester over conversations that I shouldn't fester over.
Yeah.
The non-embarrassing ones that I go, did I get my point across well, or did I just make it sound really awful?
So previous guest of the podcast, Ben Knight, exactly the same thing.
Right.
Done some things and he's like, yeah, I don't care. But then he's like, had said one thing offhandedly once and he's like, I didn't come across right. Fuck, I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah.
So it's funny that that's what people really like resonate with
so.
for embarrassment as well,
Yeah.
hey?
I know, but I am always the one that has to be told to be quiet on set. I'm always the
You're that one that's chattering away and they're like, we can fucking hear you.
Yes.
Everyone is mic'd.
Yeah, or not they don't even say it. They just look at me and stare, and I'm like, shit, it's me again.
Yeah.
It's me again. Or I'm always the one that gets early in my career.
Yeah.
I've certainly learnt not to do this now, but the one that says, can we clear the set of all the people that don't need to be here because this is a sensitive scene. So, a scene where actors have to cry.
Yeah.
And I'm standing on the sides between the actions, making people laugh.
Yeah, be like, Wah!
Yeah. And I'm
People,
telling
like,
jokes.
actors are there with like their headphones on, be like,
Yeah. And I'm cracking jokes and,
Yeah.
Look, humble brag, but I'm making them laugh, but then they have to cry.
yeah, I know. Laura's just pointing, laughing at these actors crying, making everyone else laugh. Look at that loser over there with their headphones on, crying in the corner.
Surely I should have been embarrassed back then, but I wasn't. I just thought I was
I
being
think that's
funny
not
on
out
set.
of a place of like, that's more of a place of just being like, yeah, we're here to have a good time, and then maybe not fully understanding what certain actors have to do. Like, I don't think that's anything to be embarrassed by. Maybe
good.
looking back now, being like, I can understand why I
Not
was
the
asked to
most
leave.
professional.
But yeah, I can understand like not being embarrassed by that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Maybe this podcast can serve as a bit of a therapy session to me.
That's why I say every fucking week, this is my therapy. I can't afford a real therapist. This is my therapy.
I'll just list the things that I'm wondering if I should be embarrassed about, and you should tell me.
Good speed run right now. Just list them all
Shitting
out.
myself on set.
Yeah.
Yes. Making people laugh when they should be crying. No, move on.
Laughing at new people in the fitting rooms for being embarrassed by topless people.
Look on her face when we
So here's a question, and we will finish this podcast up as well, and I'll let Laura have her laughing finish here before I ask her. But do you give any of the new people heads up for anything that can happen?
If I remember to, then certainly.
So that's a no. What would you say some of the main things are to look out for? Would it be obviously people coming out, mostly in the scud, for their measurements? That would be one, obviously.
I do just harping back onto being respectful of people's bodies. I do.
That's massive. Yeah,
That's massive.
Fully on board with that.
I tried to tell the new people, like, don't comment on things.
Yeah,
Because
right.
you can fall into the trap of treating them as objects. And
Yep.
if you're shouting across the room, and even I do it now, I shouted across the room someone's measurements.
Yeah.
That they didn't care, but they could have cared.
Oh, see, I didn't even think of that. But yeah, fair
Yeah,
enough. That's a
like-
good thing to be wary of. Right, I got
Exactly.
you.
And, someone had to yell back, come over here and tell me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've been doing this for so long and I still,
Yeah.
I go on autopilot.
That does happen a lot, especially with
does.
the longer days and stuff like that.
Long,
too.
and they're
Yeah.
all long days. So
Yeah.
I do try and tell the new people, just be really mindful and really respectful. And if anything embarrassing does happen, it's probably happened a million times before to other people.
Just give them the podcast from now on. Just make them, it'd be like, so your homework tonight is go back and listen to the entire back catalogue of everyone that works in the arts and entertainment industry. Because everybody does stupid things. They do embarrassing things. They do awkward things. The start of their career, I don't want to say the end of the career. I don't think I've ended anyone's career quite yet. But like the what you'd probably classify as like their more professional
Yes.
parts of their career, their successful parts in their career, everybody does it.
Everybody does it. And
Yeah.
this is great because I really do wish people communicated more. There's a weird, I don't know if it's a mantra, but there's
Yeah.
this weird thing on set of you should know it already.
I know, right? And it's
And by osmosis.
alienating.
It's
Yep.
alienating. You should know it before they've asked the question. No, you shouldn't.
I know, right? And especially some, and the previous guests, or the episode before this, Gregory Kelly and Pernell Marston were talking about that as well. Like, there's so many unnecessary terms, which really does make it feel like there's gatekeepers in the industry
Yes.
as well. And I can get terms for like saying maybe like you're not shouting out and saying like, "Hey, I'm going to take a big fat piss." A 10-1. It's
Yeah.
going to the toilet. That's fine.
Yeah.
But then sometimes when there's some really like specific terms which are unnecessary. I feel like yeah, this is just a bit of like a weird secular like
Yes.
cult.
It's like only when you know what they mean are you really in the group.
I know, but you can never ask. You
But
just kinda
don't
have to,
ask.
like listen out and then be like, okay.
Yes.
All right.
And do everything really quickly and in a rushed way, even though
right.
we've got time.
Yeah, you always have to be busy at work.
You always have to
Unless
be
you're an
busy.
actor, then you can sleep anywhere you want. Honestly, if people won't get annoyed at you.
Yeah, well, that's a good shout out to the costume department is you don't always have to be busy. You can step aside, and maybe the fact that you're out of the way is the best job
thing,
that you can do at that point.
Yeah, or even sometimes if you are doing a standby role, just like hanging out with an actor is quite nice sometimes. It's such a weird thing because actors, especially bit parts or day player roles where people are only on the show for like 1 or 2 days, be pretty lonely.
Yes.
Especially if you don't really know anyone. So you got like some sick costuming people.
Yes.
You just hang out with them.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really nice. I'll be honest.
Building relationships is lovely. And
yeah, it is, isn't
that
it?
is one part that I truly love. I get to meet so many new people.
Like constantly as well.
Constantly.
Or better or worse.
For better, for worse. But the better ones, you make fun of the worst ones.
Exactly, on a podcast, which is broadcast all over the internet.
I'm talking in general terms. I'm not thinking about anyone specific.
DM Laura after this if you want to know exactly who she's talking about.
Unfortunately, I'm an open book. I can't hold
Oh,
secrets.
definitely fucking DM her then in that case. I'm going to ask her as soon as we stop recording.
I'm really bad with social media, so I'm not even 100% sure of my Instagram name.
Okay, well, I'm going to put the Instagram. This is a nice segue to the end of the show as well. So do you happen to know it off the top of your head or take a guess at it?
Pretty sure it's Laura Emily 62.
Laura Emily 62.
Yeah.
On just Instagram and any other socials?
That's Instagram, and then I'm just Laura Brown on Facebook, and it's my personal stuff. But it is a good way of contacting me if you want to give me a job.
Oh, okay. I'll link your Instagram in the show notes. Maybe we won't try the personal. Reach out to her on Instagram. How about we do that?
Feel free to email me, phone me.
Yeah.
You send me
Turn up at her
do you want my
address.
address.
Your address, please. Your bank account details, card number, credit card
I
number,
know them
expiry
off.
date.
063.
No, well, no. But yeah, perfect. So I'll link Laura's Instagram in the show notes. So you got any shows coming up that you're particularly proud of that you want people to see your work in?
Well, neighbours.
Neighbours, yeah.
No, so I've got a film. Well, the problem is I can't really say much about anything, but I'm working on a film in a supervisor role that's starting in July.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah, when you get me back on this podcast, I'll tell you all about it.
Well, as soon as you shit your pants on set, so this supervisory role, you can't get fired if you're a supervisor. That's my understanding. So shit your pants and we'll have you back on instantly.
No, I feel like we've talked about shitting pants too much. I know it's your pinnacle, but now I need to come up with something super creative.
If you can vomit on set, that'd be great as well.
That would be
you learn
great.
how
I
to
mean
vomit,
that my
It's come full circle.
20 years of not being able to vomit.
That'd be perfect. All right,
What
so
did
that's your new
Seinfeld
goal.
say? What was Seinfeld's slogan?
Never seen Seinfeld before. Awkward silence. Swiftly moving on from that. As soon as that film is announced, I will post about it on the socials as well, though.
Hold on,
Yeah.
what channel was Seinfeld on where you grew up?
I don't think it was. That was the problem. We never got it on free-to-air TV, so that's why I never watched it. Yeah, I know.
You know that it exists on Netflix and...
What show does so many other things? All right, I'm watching other things.
How do you understand most people's references if you haven't seen Seinfeld?
I don't hang out with weird people.
This is blowing my mind. You've seen The Simpsons, yeah?
Obviously,
Okay,
yeah.
so Seinfeld and Simpsons is that's the basis of quotes. So you're
I feel like-
50% confused.
I mean, I'm more than 50% confused. I'd say, like, that thing that they say on the side of, like, sanitizer bottles, so it kills, like, 99.999% of germs. That's me confused. 99.99% confused. But, yeah,
Watch
maybe...
Seinfeld and you won't be.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay, Seb, I know you've done a lot of stories about embarrassing things,
Yep.
but I feel like what you've just said is your most embarrassing.
That's the pinnacle, is
You
it?
haven't seen Seinfeld.
Oh, well, so maybe I'm not embarrassed by things I should be embarrassed by as well, then.
Okay, number one.
Yeah. Seinfeld.
watch it.
Or not watching Seinfeld. All right. Well, message me on the socials if you think I should watch Seinfeld.
It's just blown up.
Finally, I'm going to have over 1,000 followers of just hate, pure hatred.
Oh.
Jerry Seinfeld, if you're listening as well, if you come on the
Sponsor.
podcast, I mean, sponsor me, obviously. If you come on this podcast, I'll watch your somewhat successful show, I suppose.
I have to think of it. At least you've
I'll
heard
think
of
about
it.
it. I've heard of it. I've definitely heard of it. I mean, who hasn't heard of Seinfeld, obviously?
Who hasn't watched Seinfeld?
Oh, there's plenty. There's plenty of people out there. Anyone born after 2000 hasn't.
When were you born?
Oh, 19.
Exactly.
All right, well,
when were you,
I'll
when were
maybe
you
start.
born?
I'm not giving away my personal details on this. All these weirdos.
I'm 1987.
Don't do that. You're giving away your address and your date of birth.
You think they care that I'm 35?
No, they're going to start piecing all these bits together. Trust me, mate. All these creeps that listen to this
Maybe
stuff.
then I'll have friends.
Yay!
Have you seen Friends?
Yes, I've seen Friends.
Okay, I just didn't know where
Not
it
a
ended.
fan. But we're going to wrap this up now before I get ousted for anything else. So the same as every week, you can find the podcast on most of the socials at Won't Be Forgetting That Pod. You can find myself, Seb Muirhead, Muirhead, across Instagram on YouTube. There's a couple of little links in the show notes as well, which do genuinely help support the podcast. It really does just help with the running of it. Donating or putting some money towards that is massively appreciated. If you can't afford it, which is totally understandable, what is free is liking, subscribing, reviewing this podcast. That's kind of, I feel like, goes without saying. Obviously, we have way more great guests like other people like Laura on that can talk about almost shitting themselves on set. And then yeah, I think that's us for this week. Thank you very much, Laura.
You are so welcome.